Family, we're going to make pasta sauce. Finally. Went shopping in the pantry and got everything we needed, plus the freezer. Let's get this started. I have the recipe that I made last time, the pasta sauce. I have it all written down of everything we added in because we're going to make it just the way we did before because it was perfect. I have my 6 number 10 cans of diced tomatoes, frozen celery, frozen carrots, 3 onions, 2 bulbs of garlic, 6 cans of tomato paste, oregano, basil, garlic powder, and onion powder, sugar, and brown sugar, and of course salt and pepper. The only thing I am missing is thyme, the herb, not the clock. But we need to go ahead and get the onions peeled, chopped up, get those sauteing with the garlic, celery, and carrots so we can puree that to get it ready for the sauce. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. Let's get started on making and canning pasta sauce. I do have 2 days off in a row. We'll do what we can today and we'll finish it tomorrow. It'll be okay. So my recipe said we use 3 cups of onions, celery, and carrots, and then 2 whole bulbs of garlic. So we're gonna rough chop this onions, measure out 3 cups, and stick it in this bowl. Peeling onions are not my favorite. Okay, so we only needed 1.5 onion, but since I already have this one peeled, I'm gonna go ahead and chop it up and put this in a freezer bag. And I'll stick this in the freezer for future use. We're gonna go ahead and weigh out 3 cups of carrots or whatever's in here. Okay, that is not quite 3 cups, maybe 2 3/4. That's what we're using. This will go back into the freezer. I need to put that back into the pantry. Get our garlic prepped. Not gonna bother dicing those, just gonna give them a good smash. We are not gonna waste any of these vegetable scraps. Will just add flavor and nutrients to a chicken stock or bone, any bone stock that you make, whether it's chicken, pork, beef, or even just vegetable stock. This is a bag I had in the freezer. It has some bones in it, some other vegetable scraps, and I just added the new ones. So I have some olive oil. 1 cup. We're going to add the onions, the carrots, and the celery. And I just want to cook this until it's soft, so that way you can go ahead and puree. That way we're not having chunks of vegetables in our sauce, but we'll have the flavor of these vegetables in the sauce. We're going to come through here occasionally and give it a toss. And this is going to take about 40 minutes. So the vegetables have been cooking for about 30 minutes. Now we're going to go ahead and add all the garlic. And we're gonna let it cook for another 15 to 30 minutes. I'll let you know how long that took. So it's been an additional 15 minutes, so we are at the 45 minutes right now. I think I'm gonna let it go for about 10 more minutes. I'm coming through here and scraping the bottom really well. Make sure we're not having anything stick into the bottom. So we've cooked the vegetables for a total of 50 minutes. The carrots, onions, and celery, 30 minutes. And then we added the garlic and we cooked that for an additional 20 minutes. Now we're gonna go ahead and puree this. I do have the burner off for safety. We're just making sure we don't have no chunks of vegetables in here. Okay, I think that is good. So I have a little bit of water in the large cans and I just swish that around through all the cans just to make sure we get all the goodness left in the cans. And now we need to do the tomato paste. We're just going to go from one can to the next can. Until we have clean cans. I have 6 number 10 cans of diced tomatoes and 6 6-ounce cans of tomato paste. Now we're going to add our pureed vegetable mixture. And now we're going to add our herbs and spices. So we have a half a cup of basil, a half a cup of oregano, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of onion powder, a quarter cup of salt, an eighth of a cup of pepper, 2 teaspoons of thyme, a half a cup of sugar, and a quarter cup of brown sugar going in. Let's try to get this stirred in as best as we can. I have the 32 quart stock pot sitting on top of my 5-gallon bucket of flour just to elevate it just a bit. And now we're going to puree it the best we can with our itty bitty teeny weeny stick blender compared to this big pot. Family, no, I'm wearing it. Guess we're gonna have to get a clean apron. We got it all over the floor and all over the cabinets. Okay, we got to clean this kitchen up. Now I need to pick this up and put it over on the stove. Okay, let me clean this kitchen. So we're going to heat up our pasta sauce. Make sure all the flavors are getting mellowed out together. Constantly scraping the bottom as we're heating it up. I forgot to put the apron back on. Apron, because I got sauce all over the other one. So we got to put a different clean one on. We do want to taste it to make sure flavor profile is right where we want it. Perfect. This recipe is going to be a keeper. And once I get this into a slight simmer, I'm going to let it cook for 1 hour. And during that time, we'll go ahead and get our jars ready and the canner ready. Family, I have a confession to make. I ran out of steam yesterday. That's why I like allowing 2 days to make my pasta sauce. I left you where we were putting it back on the stove to bring it up to a simmer and let it simmer for 1 hour. Then I started doing the math in my head. 1 hour to simmer, filling the jars, canning the jars. I just ran out of steam. So what I did is I just put that whole thing in the refrigerator. Day 2 of pasta sauce. Let's get started. Okay, now we need to put this on the stove. Get it to a simmer so we can start canning. And it's very, very, very heavy. Now the sauce is cold. It's been in the refrigerator for overnight. It's going to take a minute for it to warm up, come to a simmer, and simmer for 1 hour. The time right now is 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and get the jars ready. That way when the sauce is ready, we can move on. But I do need some breakfast. This video is coming out very soon, but it's a homemade, ready to heat and eat breakfast sandwich. Please check that video out. If you hit the subscribe button and the notification, you'll see when this video comes out. But I'm just going to eat me a breakfast sandwich this morning. So it's in parchment paper, so I can microwave this whole thing for about 45 seconds. I did take it from the freezer last night, put it in the refrigerator, and now I'm going to go ahead and microwave it. It took 2 hours for that sauce to get up to boiling from the refrigerator to the stove. It's been boiling for about, well, not really boiling. It's been simmering for about 1 hour. It is now 1 o'clock. Finally going to get these in jars. So I put a pot of water on the stove and had it come to a boil. And in this sink, I have 7 clean, rinsed, quart-sized jars in that hot water because we are hot packing. I am canning this recipe because I didn't go by an approved canning recipe for water bath on pasta sauce. I have carrots, celery, onions, garlic, herbs, spices, and sugars. And I don't want to make the ratio for acidic and non-acidic food to be able to water bath this. I want to use my recipe. So I am going to be pressure canning this. The last time I did this recipe, I pressure canned it for 30 minutes. I had no failed, no funk, no bad jars of pasta sauce. So we're going to do that again. I didn't want to add lemon juice or vinegar to my sauce to make it approved for water bath. I want my recipe in jars on the shelf, so I am pressure canning it. I have the canner with the required amount of water coming up to a simmer. So when we hot pack, we're putting hot contents in hot jars in a hot canner. That way we don't have any temperature shock and have some jars breaking. So while that's coming up, which is almost there, let me check. Oh, yeah. Our canner is ready. Let's go ahead and start filling up some jars. Oh, it's a good thing we don't have to walk too far from the stove to the island. Thank you, Jesus. We have everything ready. We have our sauce, a measuring cup for pouring, our vinegar to wipe the rim, a funnel, 7 4-jar lids, debubbler, jar lifter, and this is a jar lifter to get it out of the hot water so we're not scalding our hands. I have my rings just to the left and a paper towel. Let's go ahead and get 2 jars so we're ready to start filling. And because we are pressure canning, we're going to go to a 1-inch headspace. I'm going to wipe the rims. Got a brand new 4-jar lids. Alright, that one's funky. Now when they start to get funky and hard to get on, they go in the trash. And in the canner. Let me go ahead and get all 7 in the canner, and then we'll move on from there. So I have the first 7 in the canner. It is 114. We have to let it come to a boil, vent it for 10 minutes, then we can put our weight on it, let it come up to pressure, can it for 30 minutes, let it natural release, take the lid off, then we can pull those out and start another batch. The pot of pasta sauce is on the stove. I do not have the burner on at the moment. I'm going to wait till it gets closer to these to come out before I start warming that up again, because I don't want to scorch it. I don't want to have any burnt bits in my sauce. So it is still warm, and we're just going to leave it right there until we're ready for it. How many jars do you think we could get? We got 19 last time. Let's see if we can get 19 or more or less this time. And we finally got our pasta sauce in jars. I did end up with 21 jars. That was 3 sessions in my All-American 921 canner. Plus I have, what is this? A quart, which is 4 cups left over. We're having this for dinner. And I'm hoping I can get the 4 pizzas from here. Plus dinner. Maybe not. But we're using this for dinner. So I have them dated as pasta. Don't need to write sauce because I know what it is. And the date, 10/23. I went ahead and washed the canner. But I'm going to show you how I store my canner. So the 921 comes with 2 separators. One is for the bottom And then when you put your pint jars on here, you put one on top, and that way you can put more on the top. I keep these upside down in the bottom. My canning accessory bag, that is the debubbler, the magnet, the jar lifters, in this mesh reusable produce bag. And I keep it inside. That way when I'm ready to can, I know where it is. And the lid, I do not store it in this configuration because this gauge is very, very fragile. If this breaks, I'm not even sure if you can reorder it, or is it just a waste. So I actually store mine upside down. That way that gauge is protected. And then my weight goes right here. Now we need to go ahead and put this in the pantry, as well as put the 32-quart stock pot on the shelf. We still have the basket with all the herbs that we used for our sauce still in the basket. I need to put those on the shelf. Canning jars, lids, and take everything to the pantry. So, but before we go, I want to share something with you. I brought all my canning rings into the kitchen this morning to go through and get rid of the ones we don't need. Now some of them were rusted, like this one. So if I get a choice to go through my canning lids, there's nothing wrong with this, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with this. You can use the rusty ones. But if I have better ones that I can keep and then get rid of the rusty ones, that's what I'm going to do. Now I gave one of these bungee cords with lids on it to my daughter so she could take it to her homeschool co-op, because I'm sure somebody there can come up with a creative way of using it for a craft for the kids at the co-op. But I gave her the wrong one. I only have 7, right? I only have 7 of my wide mouth rings on here. I'm gonna have to buy some more. But that's okay. It's going to a good cause. It is fine. So these are gonna go in the trash. And now we're gonna move to the pantry. So the canner goes right there. $32-quart stock pot goes there. Crock pot here. Countertop roaster here. So under here I have 12 quarts of pasta sauce. On this shelf I have 6 quarts of pasta sauce, and up here I have 3. Now we need to empty our basket. So I just left it on the floor until we had time to come in here. So we're going to put the olive oil away, the 1 onion we did not use, and all the herbs and spices. It has been a week since we cleaned this pantry and organized it, and I can tell you right now, it's still clean. I still have a floor. I need to get in the habit of, when I take things out, to bring them back in here, to put them where they belong. My jars on that shelf. Putting the jars on this shelf has helped because I'm not constantly getting on my knees, putting it at the bottom. At the bottom are things we don't use often. but my jars are here. I have 2 cases of wide mouth quartz, 1 3/4 case of regular mouth quartz. This is my case of reused store-bought jars. And then I have a case of wide mouth pints and a few regular mouth pints, 1 extra wide mouth pint, plus 8 half pint jars. But I've done really well at keeping this room clean. Let's go back to the kitchen and get started on dinner. This is just going to be the basic pizza recipe. Because we are out of pizzas in the freezer. And I want to make breadsticks for dinner tonight. So I have 4 teaspoons of yeast, a 1/4 cup of sugar. That's 2 cups of water, plus 1 cup of water, for a total of 3 cups of water. And we're just going to let that sit till the yeast blooms. We're going to add 4 teaspoons of salt. Quarter cup of olive oil, and we're going to slowly add in a total of 8 cups of flour, starting off with 4 cups and then adding the other 4 cups 1 cup at a time. It's still just a tad bit shaggy. But that's okay. The yeast I keep in a freezer Ziploc bag inside of a reusable freezer Ziploc bag. And I just keep this in the freezer until we're ready to use it. I went ahead and took out my reusable oiled Ziploc bags that we proof our dough in out of the freezer. I'm going to go ahead and just work this a little bit just to get it cohesive. Still some shaggy bits inside. I'm not adding any flour to my surface. Now, if you saw the last time we made pizzas, I can divide this into, what did I say, 5? I believe it was 5. So that's what we're going to do. But this time, I'm actually going to weigh it to see what 1/5 of this dough ball would be. That is beautiful. 4 pounds and 7 3/8 of an ounce. All right, so we should be able to get 14 1/4 ounce out of this dough to make 5 pizzas. But one is going to actually be breadsticks. Let's see how well we did. It's 12 1/4. That is 14 1/4, 14 3/8. That's okay. Now we're going to roll it into a pizza dough ball. This will just help so it rolls out a lot easier. Our 5 dough balls in a oiled Ziploc bag. I'm going to keep one out because I want to make breadsticks for tonight. So I'm just going to leave it right over there. The other 4 I'm going to put in the refrigerator for them to proof. They will proof slower in the refrigerator and proof faster on the countertop. Sorry, this video is going to be continued until Thursday. So please hit that thumbs up. While you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. I will love to have you part of the Grammy family. Right over here, you'll see 2 videos. Please go check those out. While you're waiting on the next video, it either inspire you or give you a chuckle. Either one will be fine.